Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's BICP's Talks with Travis. Our focus for the night is going to be how can we partner with trail organizations? One, to help us, gain access to more clients, but also to help the trail organizations support their mission. So that's going to be like our big focus for tonight. I had this idea for the talk a chunk of weeks ago, and I have not personally facilitated one of these partnerships, but I've done very similar things with other businesses. And I got to meet up with a local coaching service in Minneapolis, Midwest Dirt Legion, who has a partnership with Minnesota Off-Road Cyclists, which is our primary trail advocacy organization and maintainers in the Minneapolis area. So super good conversation with them, and I'm going to drop a bunch of their info in here as we go. But kind of big overview, we're going to talk about some different ways that these types of partnerships can look and like what each party can get out of them. We'll talk about ways to make your pitch or your services more valuable to those trail organizations. We're going to talk about some steps that we'll have to go through to have a successful partnership. And all through there will be some tips from Midwest Dirt Legion about the process that they went through as well. So, of course, feel free to ask questions. For folks watching after the fact, feel free to send me an email with anything that pops up, and I'll do my best to get you some answers for sure. All right. So I just want to touch on like how we're going to be looking at trail organizations for the purposes of this call. So I'm primarily focusing on the groups of very often. Oh, Sherman's jumping in. Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Sherman,
nothing.
welcome. Awesome. Sherman, welcome. We are just getting going. Just went through a quick overview, but it's super good. I'm glad you were able to jump in on the call. But so looking at the type of trail organizations that we're going to talk about and focus on working with in this call, I'm mainly looking at the groups that are helping to maintain the trails, who are maybe doing occasional events at the trails. They're posting trail conditions, like all that sort of stuff that helps our community so much with keeping the trails in good shape, as well as like knowing when they're open and all of that. So these organizations exist all across the country. I mentioned real quick here in Minnesota, we have Sherman, we have Minnesota Off-Road Cyclists, and out in Cincinnati, Cora. I was on Cora's website, Cincinnati Off-Road Alliance, I believe.
Yes.
Awesome. And Sherman's the vice president of that. But I was on your website earlier today, and
Awesome.
super good, super well organized events, like group rides listed. I thought it was like really, really cool to see.
Thanks.
So yeah, for sure. And in West Virginia, I did a bunch of work with the West Virginia Mountain Bike Association. So these organizations exist all over the place, and they do a ton of good work for the community. We could also think about these partnerships in regards to just like cycling clubs that just help organize people. Some of the things that we could partner with these trail organizations would be beneficial to partner with these clubs as well. So I just want to touch on Midwest Dirt Legion because they provided a lot of the kind of like step-by-step process for partnering with partnering with the trail organization. They partner with Mork, and Midwest Dirt Legion is a non-for-profit coaching business that focuses on getting women and femme-identifying riders out more and better educated on, riding technique, trail awareness, like finding new rides, like all that sort of stuff. And my partner has gotten to go to, I believe, just one of their intro clinics, and it was incredibly impactful. Like they just do such good work. And and Midwest Dirt Legion was around for a chunk of years before finalizing this partnership with Minnesota Off-Road Cyclist. So they had demonstrated that they were a part of the community. They showed their mission. They talked about their mission, like they were well known. And that all led to a solid partnership down the road. We'll continue to talk about that in just a minute here. But the types of partnerships that we could form, they can look super different. So one of the like an easy option. Most of these organizations have memberships, right? And so those memberships help buy tools for working on trails and all that. Um, you could offer discounts for members, and it could be advertised on discounts on your clinics for members. It could be advertised on their website, and just as like a another way to thank them. And we could take this even to like a little bit more extreme, and to help build your rapport with the organization, to help them see what you're about. Maybe organize a clinic for some of the board members of that organization, or a little, hour long, let's get more familiar with our bikes sort of clinic for them as a way to help build your credibility up. And so Minnesota off-road cyclists worked out with Dirt Legion, that they would end up doing clinics for their trail builders. And it was like a perk for the people who their volunteers that are doing the work. So they get together a few times a year and do work or do clinics with the people who are servicing the trails, and as a way of saying like thank you. And that is huge because it helps to support the mission that Minnesota off-road cyclists has, like increasing access, showing appreciation for the trails, and they did it as a way to show appreciation for their volunteers, which can be super beneficial. Another way that this could work, and this is how I've organized partnerships with other businesses and my coaching services. So they very often these organizations have a list of events, or a calendar full of events. And one thing that they could do is like list your event, and it could be titled like a MORC event or a Cora event, facilitated by your business. And the organization could receive a portion of the revenue generated from that clinic. And that can, I mean, maybe it's like for a two, if you've got a $20 intro clinic, maybe they get $5 for each person that they register, to help incentivize getting people into the clinic, and also to help support the mission, and like put like some of your money, your profits back into this organization, while still covering costs and making sure that you're taken care of. Um, and depending on the organization or the club, there might be opportunities. They might just be stoked about your mission to get more people riding at a higher level. They might just list your event on the page. I feel like they get less out of it, if they're just listing your event. So I do think that, if there's a way that you can build into your costs that you're charging for the clinic, a way to get them a little bit of money, or, continue to focus on their mission, would be really, really more beneficial for both parties. Because I think that's really important, is making sure that the organization is getting benefits as well as you getting exposed to new clients, and more clients potentially. So looking at how the partnership formed between Midwest Dirt Legion and MORC, like I mentioned, Midwest Dirt Legion focuses on identifying people. And when the partnership started, that was also a really big focus for MORC. They still are huge advocates of getting more women riding, but they're not like actively pushing for it. But when they were, when they were pushing all the marketing and stuff, when they'd set up the partnership, the clinics carried through even after they continued to, like wrapped up that season of promotion and stuff. So if you do work specifically with women, and that's a focus of your organization, or kids events, right? Like part of the focus of trail organizations is to create trails that our kids can ride and like generations can appreciate afterwards. And so if you're willing to put together like a kid specific event in partnership with these trail organizations, it looks good for both people. Have the membership or the trail organization there to take in new memberships, and talk more about like the different work that they do. And, as you're building rapport and like getting to know these organizations, try to I mean, ask them what needs they see. right? Especially if you're well known in your, community for teaching. Ask them like how can my skill set benefit you? Because we can have all the ideas that we want, or we can have all these, ideas for clinics that would benefit the organization, but if that's not something that they're pushing for, it's a lot less likely for that partnership to happen. So check in with them, if they want to say they want to, or maybe they want to, a lot of volunteers tend to have more time, tend to be a little bit older. Maybe they want to do a clinic for riding in your late 50s, 60s, like those are all things that can help your pitch for this partnership. And the big benefits that we would see as a part of this is, or from like a business side of things, we would start to reach clients that maybe are riding at a higher level, because they're, if they're volunteering, they're super invested in this sport. I do know some trail builders that like trail building more than just like actually riding, but they've been in this sport for a long time to get to the point where they're building trails. And so you could start to coach higher level skills. And work with clients who are looking for like the precise nerdy coaching that I absolutely love. Like that is like what I really get into, and it's sometimes it's tough to find those higher level clients. Oh my goodness. Sorry. My light just went out. We good? All right, sweet.
Yeah,
All
you're
good.
Um awesome. So yeah, may attract higher level riders or riders that want to work on more challenging skills. And if nothing else, like if how your partnership works out is you offer a few super discounted clinics for the organization, have your tent out there for the clinic, it's still going to increase awareness around your business. And the trail building organizations, it's like here in Minnesota, like everybody knows each other, and within the mountain bike community, and so it can be, especially when we're like with the coaches and the trail builders and everything, like the more connections that you can make, and the more that people can see the good work that you're doing, the more likely they would be to come back for a, maybe they did your intro clinic with the organization and then they came back directly to you for some private coaching or something along those lines. So that's kind of the couple different ways that we could see these being formed. Just giving the members discount codes, some free clinics for trail builders or members of the board to try to build rapport, or just simply listing your events, or take, and they could take a portion of registration fees, or that could be donated. And most registration systems have a way to like program that in there. So when I was working with out in West Virginia, we would have other people sell our programs, and they would get 20% of the cost or whatever. And they were able to like go into the system, like do all the registration stuffs, and then that money would get split up automatically. But for like less consistent, less consistent discounts like this, uh, handling it after the fact, as long as everyone has like a written up agreement with how that will be split up, would work really well. So some steps along the way, and please, bring out questions, super, anything pops up or suggestions, let us know. Yeah, Sherman, what's up?
Sorry. Hey, yeah. So are you maybe later on can discuss insurance? Like
Mhm.
I'm starting to like run into like a roadblock there with trying to figure out how to get insured, how much
Yeah.
to get insured, all that type of stuff. So I don't know and when working with another organization, I think I'm vice president for Cora, but Cora has stepped back with the community engagement part and made
Mm.
kind of so I'm doing that a little bit independently. So just trying to make sure that I'm covered and I'm not I'm not homeless with a bike. So,
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
bad idea, but I don't want to do that. I want to do that purposely and
Yeah.
not through litigation. So
For sure.
thank you.
And so that is a super, super good question. So yeah, steps along the way, insurance is going to be really important. We did do a call about like starting your mountain bike guiding business, which we go pretty in depth on the different types of businesses. So a lot of folks will start out as like a sole proprietorship, but then you can be held liable, like all of your assets can be held liable in the event of litigation. But if you have a LLC, a limited liability corporation, you are separate as a person from your business. So they can only, sue for what the business is worth, is my understanding. Not a
Yes.
lawyer. I'm a mountain bike instructor.
Yeah,
S-
that's what we have is an LLC. And so if anything happens and somebody who is coming after you, they can't squeeze blood from a turnip, but you can have my red pen. So yeah, we do have insurance. It's called Adventure, like adventure. And we actually found it on the IMBA website through a blog that one of the ladies had a couple of years ago. And of course, we're looking at some other opportunities because insurance had gone up just a little bit, but we
Mhm.
carried about a $2 million policy because of the fact that we're partnered with the county parks and the state park here in Arizona, and also with one of the local towns, town of Gilbert. So that provides enough coverage for what they're looking for in order to do clinics and whatever else through their town or city or county or college. So Adventure is who we have.
Awesome. Thank you, Tish. And yeah, that's also who the BICP uses for their insurance. Um, and when you're looking at, how much coverage to get, when you're looking at the like Tish mentioned, the city, the county, like all the different levels of permitting, uh, check to see what they require. Like you
Right.
could even email like County Parks and Rec. I believe most of the times, because you'll need to provide a certificate of insurance the vast majority of the time to host these clinics. And often I think it's around 1 million. But I would, yeah, just like check in with your local permitting agencies because they'll have a much better number for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard a lot of people have success with Adventure. I know, so in the talk, I interviewed a mountain bike instructor and instructor trainer from Wisconsin, Angela Brooks, and she was able to get, she had like a fleet of rental bikes and she had vehicles and like all this stuff that she was able to like bundle together through a like local insurance agency. So there are, other avenues as well, but yeah, adventure, this is like, adventure sports is what they're focused on and can be a great starting point for sure.
Yeah, they'll ask a couple of questions about how many clinics, how many people, how often, things like that. And I found it to be pretty reasonable.
Mhm.
Um, I know that last year was almost 900. This year it went up to about 12 for the
Mhm.
year, not a month. And we
Yeah,
carry anywhere between, I know that like with the town of Gilbert, they want a $2 million thing. Okay, that's fine.
yeah,
But then, and I like what you said, Travis, and that just checking in with your local town or whomever and seeing what they're wanting you to carry. And it's pretty reasonable. And if you can just build that into your business model and know what your overhead is, then it makes it pretty affordable if you know what those target dollar signs are at the end of the month.
for
So,
sure. And I yeah, and you see, 900 to 1200, that like from the coaches that I've talked to across the country, that's like the range. I've heard as low as like 700 in some specific places, but somewhere in there is a pretty good estimate.
That's not too bad. I think I could, because I'm mainly doing it for not quite a business, more I just kind of reinvest most of it and back into, trying to make the experience better. But because
Mhm.
I'm really focused on beginners and introduction to the sport. So yeah, I'm wondering if I can get a sponsor to take care of that for me, and
Mhm.
then I put a big McDonald's logo on my chest,
There you
and
go.
we
I
roll
love it.
with that. Yeah.
There is usually at the like city and state level, there is very often support for small businesses too. Like we in West Virginia, we got grants to pay for a lot of like sending coaches to wilderness first responder certifications, to BICP certifications. I wonder if there'd be some like general business grant small business grant support as well. And it seems like, I mean, at least where I was in West Virginia, they were like so stoked to be like providing the service. I think not enough people take advantage of those you know, little things to help us get going for
Hey,
sure.
and Travis, if I can continue on with that, is that okay? Are you good on time?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome sauce. So one of the things that you can look at, and I love to do research, I'm a geek, is to check again, like even with the state parks, like Arizona State Parks offers grants for LLCs, whether you're formal or informal, even as a nonprofit, for trail building or offering educational, like environmental stuff, leave no trace principles. And it ties in with mountain biking because, you know, we as mountain bikers, at least from our experience, is that we see a lot more people who ride bikes coming out and doing trail maintenance and trail building than we do the horseback riders. And I'm not picking on the horseback riders, but that's just how it is, at least out here. And so whether it's the state parks or even your state game agency, I know here in Arizona, we have Arizona Game and Fish. They offer grants as well. So if you get to know who the people are and what your goals are, and if you can tie in trail sustainability, environmental ed, or some sort of something or other, then yeah, you can qualify for those sorts of things. Also, local bike shops. We have 7 local bike shops that do sponsor what we do, and they throw in $500 to $1,500 every year, which we use for people who either can't afford to come out, because I want you to be able to come and learn how to have more fun on a bike by being safe, crashing less, having all of these tools in your toolbox to come in to ride. And so we have bike shops that support that. So they offer that as a discount. They share our business with the people that come in and buy bikes or even get bike maintenance. So network with everybody, let them know what it is that you're doing. And
Nice.
they love, especially the local city parks or town parks, they love what you're doing and what you're bringing. And don't be afraid to ask schools, because with the NICA leagues and the other mountain biking leagues that are being promoted through middle school and high school, they love what you're offering, especially from the beginner aspect, and especially from getting more girls or more women or people who identify as women to come out and to ride. So really stick your neck out there and let them know. And I tell you what, you are going to cast that fish net out so far and wide that you're going to be surprised at what you pull back in. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought that was I actually started writing down to my
Awesome.
executive board about Arizona State Parks offer grants for trail building. I'm like, wow, I didn't think about that, you know. So that's or you know or things like doing this type of stuff, you know. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, okay, what resources do I have, you know, because I recently ran into more of a I'm running into these roadblocks like venues, trying to find a venue to host maintenance clinics and suspension clinic and a jump clinic I wanted to host, and it's like I couldn't do them because I didn't have it was $250 for even to have a roof over our heads. So and that makes it more expensive for that, you know. So makes it more expensive, less accessible.
Yeah.
And so yeah. I thought that was a very insightful Tish. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and you know, out here we have nonprofits that like a Build a Bike program, and they work within the community. We have one out here. I know I'm in Arizona, you're in another state, but I would check with some of those local non-for-profits who service the community, who get kids to come into the program and to build a bike. They take the bike home, so they learn a skill. I'm from a small town in Clovis, New Mexico. We have a lot of Air Force people, a lot of agriculture. And we have a lot of kids that, wow, you don't know how to ride bike? Oh my God, we're gonna have some fun. And so I
Mhm.
worked with a couple of it's called Roy Walker Gym, and it's a gym, and I mean this with the heart when I say this, but they're on the other end of town where it's the lower socioeconomic end of town. So you
Mhm.
have a lot of kids that are in Title I schools. And when you go in and you talk with them, what it is that you're doing and how you really want to work with the communities and or the community and the family, and you get them on board, they will be more than happy to
Mm.
pay for whatever it is that you need to have in partnership with you, because it's a tit for tat kind of relationship. And so I would
Yeah.
definitely reach within your community, you know,
Oh.
to do things like that. And I can feel your heart. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. That's huge. You know, I think some of the organizations out west are just, you know, we've been working with like Santa Cruz mountain biking and stuff like that. And Travis, I'm not trying to steal
No, no, you guys are good.
your
These conversations are huge. This is like why we do this.
you
It's all
know,
good.
I'm a chatty Kathy, and sometimes I gotta check
I'm here.
myself and cover my mouth because
Hey, where are
you
you
know,
from?
make sure. What's that?
Where are you from? Where are you
I'm
from?
from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans,
Okay.
but I live in Cincinnati. So, you know,
Okay.
my adult years have been spent. I kind of graduated from college and got a job in Cincinnati and just never looked back. So, I don't have any family up here, anything. So,
That's like me
so
here.
I can just be myself now. So, I don't have anybody telling me you know, I'm riding bikes now. You know,
Yeah.
I've always been
Yeah.
riding bikes.
Yeah. Well,
You
and
know,
you know, and I
yeah.
see that you got your ninja hat on. I don't know.
There we
Ah, that's
go.
cool.
I coach
I
for ninja
won.
too.
I won this by
Oh
doing
wow.
shoot, what is it called? Like, it's called rock dodge, but they have like the rock set up like in like a
Okay.
row. Oh,
Sure.
it's
Kind of
so
like track standing and you try to go around
yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah,
big
yeah.
rock dodge.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like that. Well, as soon as she took it out, I was like, that's my hat right there. I'm taking that.
Well, I
I'm taking
got
that
your
home with
shirt
me.
now.
That's it.
If you're ever
Yeah.
out in Arizona, I'll give you a free lesson.
Great. That's
um,
awesome.
Well, and
yeah.
just to kind of like add on to what you guys have been touching on, and like being
Mhm.
invested in the community is huge. You know,
Yes.
like knowing who you're working with is like step one to like make these connections and these partnerships like happen, especially like into the future. And so, you know, spend a few days at the volunteer trail events.
Mhm.
Go to their like social gatherings, like all of that sort of stuff, or be vice president of the organization, Sherman.
Yeah.
um, and what I would, especially, so I mean, ideally we'll have a little bit of rapport with like some of the folks that are, you know, maybe on the board, or run like specific trail crews. But when we're introducing the idea of this proposal, like in a semi-official format, short email, introduce yourself, your business, share like what other roles you play in the community, and then ask for a short meeting. And of course, or so ask for a short meeting opposed to like putting in a ton of, you know, like a 2-page email in there because um I like you as well, Sherman. I can like talk about mountain bike stuff for a long time and longer than somebody wants to read in an email for sure. So ask for a meeting, and it can be short, you know, or you know, if they're down, take them out on a ride. That could definitely be fun too. Both really good options. But along with that email, have like a 1-page overview. Like, hey, here's the clinics that I think are going to best align with your mission. Here's some testimonials, kind of like your 1-page, something they can look over, have some, you know, positive remarks on, some pictures of you doing your thing with participants, because that says so much, and it'll be good for them to see it.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
part of that also, like, and I'm glad we're going to talk about insurance eventually, Sherman. So that is probably something that these um, organizations are going to be asking of you, you know, if they do decide to partner with you. So definitely just have that ready. So oftentimes, yeah, so you can have your policy information like ready to go, or be able to provide like, hey, I did a program here, here's the certificate of insurance that I used for this side of things. So have something like that ready to go. Also, share your certifications as an instructor. So, BICP level 1 or 2, or like if you've done other certification programs, like include that information on there because that's going to add a lot to your credibility. And they may also need, you'll have to figure out some sort of marketing strategy. And Midwest Dirt Legion, their biggest advice was be very clear about who is doing what. So who's going to be acquiring permitting, who's going to be developing marketing content. A lot of these organizations do have insurance, but are we teaching the clinic under their insurance or under our insurance? And like, how does that work? Because even if, so for example, out in West Virginia, we had insurance to run like some specific types of programs, but we didn't have insurance to build like gap jumps and like wooden constructed features because it was outside of the policy. So most trail organizations, especially if they don't already have a coaching or have done some, coaching stuff in the past, they may have insurance, but it might not be the correct type of insurance. So I feel like for our safety, put it under, I would recommend putting it on your insurance to provide that, just so that we are all, for sure covered.
Yeah.
I would also make sure we're super clear about the registration process. If it's difficult for our part, even if we give them a discount and it's a screaming deal on a clinic, if it's a challenge for them to get through that registration process, like they're not going to do it. And so a lot of depending on there's a million different registration systems out there. Some you can like embed code into other websites, and then you can put in the booking widget like right there, and they could register from that site. Otherwise, you could have like a link in the description to, bike event registration, or Advent Turtle is another one that is an app that a lot of folks are getting on these days for promoting their programs. But figure out what that's going to look like and who's responsible for maintaining that. And especially even if we're doing the clinic, like, okay, here's our Cora Introduction to Mountain Biking Clinic facilitated by Sherman's Mountain Bike Business, I would still want to have control over that because we are going to be the best ones to write the descriptions for our classes. We're going to be the best people to tell participants what to bring to those classes and all of that. So a lot of this stuff, I would like from my perspective, I would want to be overseeing it. So I'd want to have the control over the permit. If we split permit costs, awesome. If not, well, we can, figure it out as we go. I would probably, I'd put it on my insurance. And then when it comes to marketing is always like a team effort. Definitely is not my like strongest skill set. And so figuring out, I found I always start with dates. Like, okay, like our clinic is, this particular date, how far in advance do I need people to need registration to be finalized? Okay, like how many like a month or two do I want to give them, how much time do I want to give people like awareness or let people know about before they register? And so just be super clear with deadlines. And then you will likely need what I definitely would do is have logos from the organization and your logo right next to each other, or super close. And that'll take some emails back and forth. And then thinking about who's going to do like the initial posting, or if people are going to share posts, or how the cross promotion is going to go, just make sure it's like super well understood. Marketing is super important, and it is a bummer when things like, especially when you have a clinic that you're excited about, it's a bummer if it doesn't get to run because the marketing got mixed up somewhere and it didn't get promoted early enough. So just be super intentional about that, establishing who's doing what. And then, from let's see, I'm gonna double check my notes, but I think those are like the biggest things that my conversation with the Midwest Dirt Legion, brought up, and my experience from working with other businesses in this same sort of way. But do y'all have any other thoughts or questions or well, and I am kind of curious, Sherman, on your perspective from one of these organizations, like what would it take for you or your organization to agree to some sort of partnership like this?
Like we recently kind of like went from like a working board to a governing board, and it's kind of trying to give our staff a little bit more independence, and maybe prevent a little micromanaging that was happening from a working board. Because if you're sitting there with the shovel in hand with the person, you want to kind of like, oh well, I think we should say this or this like that, so we're trying to be more guiding and facilitating and opening up social circles to this. And I think you have to look at it through that lens with organizations that are trying to grow, that they're trying to gain influence. And so the big thing is like we want to show them this trail experience in order to kind of get that key to their heart, and then therefore when they want to give, they think of us, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I like to think about it in full circle, because nobody's gonna write a big check for 30 miles of trail. No organization is going to do that because the lesson was good. They're gonna it's the whole overall experience that will kind of captivate them and bring them in, and then and really wrap their heart up and make it something that they want to tell someone else. You know what I mean? So when they're talking, that's kind of how I look at it from like a vice president role. Because if somebody came to me and they wanted to do, say, an urban ride, where, because we're in Cincinnati, we have stairs and stuff like that. Like it's a dynamic city, so you could put together an off-road ride that was different. But so the purpose of it would have to be to try to get people onto a natural surface at some point, so that's kind of how I look at it. You have to be spreading the love of that experience in a certain way that will get them to buy into saying that is what they want more of. Or you have to be doing some direct ask to, if there are people that have the means, doing direct ask for funds for trails. That's how I look at it through what. But if I put on the ninja hat or the BICP hat, I am trying to reach as many new riders as possible, to everybody. I want them to taste the chili that is mountain biking and see if they like it. You know what I mean? So I want everybody to get a scoop, everybody get a
Yep.
get a spoonful, and then if you don't like it, fine, that is no problem. There is a salad bar on the other side, and you can enjoy that. But if you do like it, then hey, listen, you like that, come on through. I got 115 miles of beautiful trails for you to enjoy, and they're all different in their own special way. So that's a long-winded way of saying it, but yeah, just kind of two different more. One is more purpose driven, like trying to get trying to get somebody to fund a piece of trail, and then the other one is trying to get them to buy into a hobby, and maybe one day they become that big donor, but that's not the objective.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that, and I believe it was on, I went on a bunch of different organization websites, but you mentioned, or I believe on Cora's website, you guys have like weekly, there was like, group ride at this
Yes.
location on this date. Is that organized through Cora, or is that like through a club, or how
Yeah.
does that work?
So like the way the group rides in general is something I kind of started when I first got into Cora because there was no real community
Hmm.
aspect to the organization, and so I wanted to have a place for people to gather and really uh, form those bonds. We did monthly group rides at that point, and then I noticed that there is a larger community in the area in the city, but there are also these micro communities in these neighborhoods, and Cincinnati is very neighborhood based. It has a lot of different neighborhoods, and so over at one trail we call Mount Airy Forest. That trail has its own locals, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then you go over maybe 30 minutes away to Devu, which is a very popular, more modern trail. It has its own locals, you know, and so we don't exactly need to we just need to kind of shape and add some structure to something that's already there, and
Okay.
then put a funnel in that so people can start going into those communities and then fall into the larger community,
Yeah.
and then so we found donors through that. We found a lot of cross pollination, a lot of networking that
Hmm.
happens through that, because after every ride we grill out. We usually grill out. So we I don't know if I have a saying, you slay the beast and then you feast. So and it does something to people. It does something to people when you when you sweat, have that sweat equity, and then you eat. It's
Hmm.
like you just killed something, and not really, but we all killed it, right?
Yep.
And then we come and we eat, and we're talking, and we're planning the next rides, and people are talking about what
Yep.
they're doing on the weekends. Like, oh, I'm going over to 2 hours away to Brown County. That's a giant system. Oh, you haven't been there? Oh, sweet. I mean, what you doing tomorrow? Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Meet me at the parking ride. Let's go. I'd love to show you Brown County. And so it grows these very tight bonds that I feel are very important, for not only I'm in my head. I'm trying to breed mountain bikers. I'm trying to like I want people to I want you know people to get the bug and have spread it, like the plague. You know what I mean? I want them to feel infected by it and then want to give it to everybody else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, oh man, I want to talk about it. But yeah, that's kind of how that's how I hope I came full circle there. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, for
hoping I did.
sure. And I was thinking like yeah, like these group rides are a way to build community, and even from like a role as like a private mountain bike coach, like sure we might have to like volunteer some time towards this organization, but like that shows our investment in that community that Sherman was talking about, which is super huge. But I mean, yeah, so I appreciate all of the stuff that you guys added. I'm sure the people that watch this after the fact are going to be stoked about it as well. But I really appreciate you guys coming tonight, and just to kind of like recap the big things, we are trying to find these organizations that are supporting the same things that we're doing, getting more people riding bikes so that we can build up the awareness and support for them, as well as hopefully get a couple extra customers for us, whether that's where giving their members discount codes or giving them money based on the registration for our events in exchange for like listing it on their website or promoting it. But all of these things, it comes back to community, and that is something that we need to be able to be successful with these partnerships. So if you guys have any additional thoughts, feel free to give me a holler. I'm glad that Sherman, you emailed me a little bit ago and I was like, oh no, I was hoping to jump on.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad you're able to get on. That
Um,
was awesome. And Tish, it was
MDT. I didn't see that. Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I didn't see the time zone MDT. I was like, you emailed me back and you said it like it was it hadn't happened yet, and I was like, oh shoot, it's MDT. Oh sweet, all right, I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome. And Tish, yeah, it was really good to meet you. And when I'm down in Arizona, I'll give you a holler. Hopefully next February is what I'm shooting for.
I'll be looking for you, buddy.
Excellent.
I don't want to
Excellent.
hear
Yeah.
your name that you're up in Sedona hanging out. It's like, where was I?
I'll make sure to
Yeah.
come down for sure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Well, I'm going to get the recording going, but for folks watching afterwards, any questions pop up, feel free to send me an email. Super happy to talk more about it. And y'all have a good rest of the night.